If you need a fresh start, this is a book you need to pick up. This is the book that I have gifted to more people and that changed my life in 2020. It changed Matthew McConaughey's life before he found success. And I know that it can change your life and get you to a place of happiness and get you living the life that we stand for here at Never Peak. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Never Peak podcast. I'm Gabe Malinsky, your host, and I've got a little bit of a different episode for you here today. I'm going to do a bit of a book review, not necessarily getting into details on it, but I want to read you part of it, tell you about how I discovered this book and why it's the number one book that I have gifted to others. Before we dive into it, just want to remind you to check out NPX, our productivity drink. We combine the best of the best electrolytes, creatine, and your morning energy mix between caffeine, L-theanine, and L-tyrosine to give you the best energy you can possibly have to fuel better days. Back in 2020, I was doing a lot of reading around the COVID time period, focused on myself because there wasn't much else going on in the world. So, of course, you got to turn internally and do your best to make yourself a better person. I was listening to a lot of podcasts. One of those was The Tim Ferriss Show. On episode 474 of The Tim Ferriss Show, Matthew McConaughey came on and talked about his new book, Green Lights. That's not the book that I gift to others. But within that interview, I highly recommend you go listen to it. A lot of good lessons. But he talked about how before he was studying for a test in college, he was, I believe, in his fraternity and found the book, The Greatest Salesman in the World. This is the book that I'm going to be talking about. From there, he went on this adventure reading this book. If you read it, you'll find out exactly why I call that an adventure. And I think you'll learn pretty quickly why it changed his life. I want to read you part of it. This is chapter 8, the scroll marked 1. Today I begin a new life. Today I shed my old skin, which hath too long suffered the bruises of failure and the wounds of mediocrity. Today I am born anew, and my birthplace is a vineyard where there is fruit for all. Today I pluck grapes of wisdom from the tallest and fullest vines in the vineyard, for these were planted by the wisest of my profession, who have come before me generation upon generation. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. The career I have chosen is laden with opportunity, yet it is fraught with heartbreak and despair. Yet I will not fail. Failure, like pain, is alien to my life. In the past, I accepted it as I accepted pain. Now I reject it, and I am prepared for wisdom and principles which will guide me out of the shadows into the sunlight of wealth, position, and happiness far beyond my most extravagant dreams, until even the golden apples in the garden will seem no more than my just reward. Nature already has supplied me with knowledge and an instinct far greater than any beast in the forest, and the value of experience is overrated, usually by old men who nod wisely and speak stupidly. Only principles endure. What they will teach me is more to prevent failure than to gain success. For what is success other than a state of mind? Which two among 1,000 wise men will define success in the same words, yet failure is always described but one way. Failure is man's inability to reach his goals in life, whatever they may be. In truth, the only difference between those who have failed and those who have succeeded lies in the difference of their habits. Good habits are the key to all success. I will form good habits and become their slave. As a child, I was a slave to my impulses. Now I am slave to my habits. Through these scrolls, this is the first, it will be done, for each scroll contains a principle which will drive a bad habit from my life and replace it with one which will bring me closer to success. For it is another of nature's laws that only a habit can subdue another habit. I will read each scroll for 30 days in this prescribed manner before I proceed to the next scroll. That's the adventure. As I repeat the words daily, they will soon become a part of my active mind. But more important, they will also seep into my other mind, that mysterious source which never sleeps. And I will be happier than I ever believed it possible to be in this world of strife and sorrow. Thus, a new and good habit is born. For when an act becomes easy through constant repetition, it becomes a pleasure to perform. And if it is a pleasure to perform, it is man's nature to perform it often. When I perform it often, it becomes a habit and I become its slave. And since it is a good habit, this is my will. Today, I begin a new life. If you need a fresh start, this is a book you need to pick up. If you can't afford it, reach out to us. We will send you one. This is the book that I have gifted to more people and that changed my life in 2020. It changed Matthew McConaughey's life before he found success. And I know that it can change your life and get you to a place of happiness and get you living the life that we stand for here at Never Peak. Thanks for joining this episode of the Never Peak Podcast. We'll talk to you soon.